want to share with you what I do if I find a sick chicken.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the chickens of our lives.
And this is not veterinarian advice. This is only advice from my own experience. It's really hard to find a vet that will see chickens. So sometimes you have to be a vet when you're not one. Are you alright, Miss Judith? Kind of standing goofy and you're kind of pale. She's giving me the side eye. When you have backyard chickens, it's not cost effective to take every single one to the vet every time they exhibit some sort of symptoms. So it's required to kind of know something about how to treat whatever symptoms you're seeing. Go through this checklist and remember, don't panic. Get down. Ow. First, you must take control. Isolate your bird from the flock. It's much easier to assess what's going on when you have her alone. I usually use a dog crate or a dog cage, and I set it up with food and water and grit. If it's too cold, bring your chicken inside so that you can control the ambient temperature. You may need to keep control over what your bird is eating and drinking or be able to administer medication. So having your bird separate will help with that, because the more you know about what symptoms she's having, the better you will be able to diagnose the problem and determine a possible treatment. Also, if your bird has something that is contagious, you want to limit the possible spread of the illness to the rest of your flock.
How's everybody doing? You doing all right? Everybody in one piece? Hi, Libby.
Next, examine any physical signs of symptoms or other abnormal clues as to what the problem might be. These are the most common symptoms to look for. Examine your chicken's vent area. That's like the little slit on her booty where the egg comes out and the poop. For signs of a stuck egg or a poopy butt or weird abnormal white or clear sticky liquid or possibly a protruding vent, or basically anything else that seems abnormal.
Sophia was my very first sick chicken. She laid enormous eggs. Sometimes she would lay a regular shelled healthy egg in the morning, and by evening she was trying to squeeze out another that barely had a thin rubbery shell like a balloon.
You okay, sweetie?
Forcing soft-shelled eggs out of her vent caused her to prolapse, which means that her vent basically turned inside out. The internal part of her plumbing was stuck on the outside of her body. Normally, this is treatable. You reinsert the vent with your lubed up finger and use honey to get it to stay in. However, Sophia had so much infection and inflammation that I couldn't get her insides to stay in her. I reinserted her vent at least 100 times over the course of 3 months, and she was the first of many garage chickens. Her infection got so bad no matter what I tried to do to help her, and she was the first chicken that I had to make a really hard decision to finally euthanize, which luckily I have a husband that will help me with that. Well, he does it for me, because I just can't. Through the research I did to help Sophia, I learned how to diagnose and help my future chickens and became extremely comfortable with handling them. She was the one that helped teach me, and I promised her that her sacrifice would not be in vain. But I still blame myself for my ignorance, and I don't ever want to feel that helpless again.
Look for mites or lice, and mites usually are pretty visible, yet they're very small bugs that resemble specks of dirt, and they actually might be red too. Lice are harder to see, although they tend to be more clear in color and they're very, very small and blend in. However, you may find eggs that are at the base of the feather shafts, and those are called nits, and they're pretty gross.
Also search for any signs of open wounds.
And this is what happens when the boys fight.
Blood.
Then I have to do this.
Or physical trauma to your chicken.
Yeah, definitely not my favorite thing to do. But for cleaning up bloody roosters, we like to use this. That works pretty good.
Observe the movements of your chicken and look for any weird head shaking, looking up at the sky awkwardly, or staggering. He does the head shake thing again. He stopped it for a while, but now he's back to it. Examine abnormalities in poop. I use this poop chart. However, I know from experience that chicken poop is very hard to determine whether it's normal or not, as it can be a large array of different colors and consistencies. Signs that you're looking for illness are worms and blood. Cloudy eyes and or gray eyes are another serious symptom to be looking for, and fluids in the eyes or nose or mouth as well. Next, you want to look at combs and wattles. You want really, really bright red combs and wattles, and that says your bird is in a really healthy condition. If you see dark purple, that could say a circulatory system problem or organ failure, or maybe just frostbite.
They've been picking on Judith again, and her comb is so droopy, and it's got peck marks because there's mean girls. And so we're doing a spa treatment, and I gave her some worm medication because I don't really know what else would be possibly wrong with her, because she seems fine. And I hadn't wormed her in a long time, so I thought maybe that would work. It's really hard to be a vet when you're not one. And I try, because she's lost a lot of weight, and I don't think she's been eating. She'll eat when you give her food, but I don't think she eats with the rest of the flock because they're mean. And they bully her.
After observation, you will need to assess an avenue of treatment. Routinely, all sick chickens in my care usually get the same treatment until I assess otherwise. The go-to is egg, garlic, oregano, apple cider vinegar, vitamins, probiotics, and or Save-A-Chick if I have it on hand. I tend to throw the kitchen sink at my sick chickens. I always go the natural route first, and I find that chickens respond very, very well to natural cures. I usually do a Google search and a search on backyardchickens.com/forums with a symptoms list and look for any chicken keeper that has ever had a similar situation with their own flock and any chickens with the same sort of symptoms. That I find is the most helpful in finding a treatment to start with, and then I go by how my bird reacts to said treatment. There are also Facebook groups that can be very helpful, and you can just search for posts on there for people who have encountered similar issues with their birds. You can also make a post asking for help on a chicken-related Facebook group, or you can post on the backyardchickens.com forums and just make sure to indicate as much information as possible, and pics and videos are also very helpful in getting the best and most accurate advice. I'm adding several helpful links to articles from various sources, as well as the links to backyardchickens.com forums and Sick Chickens Help Facebook group in the description of this video. That should give you a direction to go when trying to diagnose your sick chickens.
No, the other bathroom. Yeah. We have a little bit of hard crusted on her butt, and I can't really show you with one hand, but it looks like a egg malfunction. A soft egg is kind of dried on and half coming out of her vent. So we're going to soak her, and then she's going to be all better. Right, Salah? We're going to be all better, aren't we? Oh, all better, sweetie. We'll be fine. We looked at it, and it looks like she had an egg malfunction, but it's not in her vent. It's just underneath it. But she's acting really weird, and she's really tired, and moving really slow. So we're in an Epsom salt bath now. We got a nice treat for you, sweetie. You want some eggs? I got eggs and salad and some berries for you. You're feeling better, aren't you, baby? All right.
If your chicken has been limping and you suspect a sprain or some sort of injury,
Why are you limping, Zippy?
whether it's your bird's hip, her ankle, or somewhere else, administer vitamin B12, C, and D to help with recovery. And keep her secluded, for as long as it takes for her to start
Go home, Libby.
acting a little more normal.
You're fine. I gotta clean out your cage. Go home. Everybody wonders where you're at.
I highly recommend building your own chicken first aid kit. You picked a really great time to go ahead and molt. Sometimes molting chickens will act sick and freak you out a little bit.
Why are they standing like that?
And some added support to help them through it is certainly helpful and humane. Look at how cool Amica looks with all her new feathers. She got like massive molt going on. Look at how America's all filling in. She's pretty. Wow, America, you're really pretty. We don't get to run around in the garage and poop on the floor. We're not doing that. Look at all your feathers coming out of here. Here. They got lots of calcium in them and lots of protein for making feathers. Have some mealworms. Go on feathers, Esther? Yeah, she's got some feathers going on, but you ain't going nowhere. Esther, look at you. You look fantastic. You're as filled in as Rosie. You look beautiful. Look at her turd and twirl. And here's Miss Delila. She won't eat even the eggs. I have her next to the brooder plate, and I have a heater on in here. But she's really scared of me.
Yeah, Miss Delila in an Epsom salt soak. I don't know what's wrong with her.
Delilah's always freaking me out. If I see a dirty vent, we go right straight to an Epsom salt soak. It's a spa treatment. That's the joke around here. Use about half a cup of Epsom salt. It really doesn't have to be precise. I just kind of grab a handful and throw it in the water. Fill a reservoir big enough to hold your chicken comfortably and use warm to hot water depending on the ambient temperatures of the room. You don't want to shock her system with a major temperature change. I usually use whatever my shower temperature would be, and if she's having a heat stroke, obviously you wouldn't want to put her in hotter water. Just use your own discretion. If you observe that your chicken is wobbling, looking up at the sky, running in a circle, or twisting its head around to look at you upside down, it's most likely a vitamin deficiency called ryeneck. You will need to give that chicken vitamin E and selenium until the symptoms improve. You can order it on Amazon. In the meantime, you can feed your bird black sunflower seeds that have the vitamin E and egg, which contains the selenium. The selenium is a very important part of this. Selenium is essential for the body to absorb the vitamin E. When there's no selenium, then you could feed your bird vitamin E until the cows come home, and it would never be enough. It's like trying to fill a bottomless bucket. If there are signs of respiratory infection,
colloidal silver, and their water and oregano and garlic and rosemary are all good options to start with. However, I also try to get my hands on some antibiotic. As one bird is having a respiratory problem, then chances are you will have more. The antibiotic will most likely work much faster than the natural methods. You might notice an aggressive hen that will stay on the nest and sit on eggs. She's only sick in the head. Physically, she's what is called broody and has a hormonal fluctuations that make her want to hatch eggs and be a mama. Either give her some eggs to hatch or you're going to pay with her attitude for the next month.
Apparently we traded one broody for the other broody, but now we get really mean broody. This one's the mean one. No. You are not doing this. No, you're not. Both of these broodies have hatched eggs for me already, so let's not feel sorry for them. You've already been mamas. Oh my goodness. Dorothy, for heaven's sakes, you're not doing this. We don't need any more roosters. Come on. Come on. Come on.
If you observe that your chicken has a large bulging crop and has a nasty yeast-smelling fluid spitting up, that is an indication of some form of Sauer crop.
Emptying out her crop. Tip her kind of like a gravy dish and kind of massage her crop a little bit. She kind of vomits out, but she can't do it by herself, so I have to help her.
That means the concoction is in order. Scrambled eggs, garlic, oregano, red pepper flakes, cinnamon, plain yogurt, or you can substitute with raw milk and apple cider vinegar mixed together. I fed her that for a few days and she got better within a week.
Another sure sign of this is a white sticky liquid oozing out of her vent, which is known as vent gleat.
Poor Judith. Her comb's all floppy and dry. She usually perks up after she drinks. I think she just gets dehydrated.
However, I have also mistaken a broken or shellless egg dripping from the vent as vent gleat. It can look very similar, but the gleat won't have the yellow looking egg yolk in it unless there is an egg present.
I prayed many times for Judith. I am a prayer with a strong faith. I always pray when my birds are sick, and I ask for wisdom, knowledge, discernment, truth, and guidance. Our Father in heaven always answers me, even when it's not what I wanted to hear. But I get the truth, and He guides me through it. I must first submit to His will and surrender it all to Him, which usually equals a long, hard cry. We have saved several of our hens together by Him using my hands. I didn't know anything about chickens when I started, and now look at how many people that I can help by sharing all the things that I've learned through the years.
Well, we had a little bit of poop in her milky white liquid today. I'd really like her to poop on the floor here so I can see a little bit of what that consistency is. This is really the first poop I've seen out of Judith in days, but she's got poop, so that's great. I am thrilled.
I was diligently treating Judith for sauerkraut because sauerkraut is the main cause of vent gleat, until I noticed that there were yolks that were in her gleat. And this is the truth I was praying for.
If you have a hen that has a sticky liquid on their vent and notice that there is egg yolk present, it is most likely
egg yolk peritonitis. I think that's how you say it.
And in this case, there is little that can be done for your hen. Most likely, and in my experience, she will keep laying these types of eggs inside herself and develop an infection in her reproductive tract. The breeds that are most likely to get this type of disorder are high production and hybrid breeds like Isa Browns, Black Sex Links, and Pearl White Leghorns. And the most moderate laying breeds like Wyandottes, Orpingtons, Sussex, Brahmas are less likely to develop this condition. But the best thing you can do for your suffering hen is to make her very comfortable, at least until you are super sure that that is what the issue is and that it can't be fixed. And then just put her out of her misery. Because unfortunately there is little hope that she will stop. And eventually it will kill her anyway. And it's really an awful, painful death to watch. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get all upset. Judith's condition did improve slightly, but it had less to do with what I was giving her and more to do with the fact that she was spending so much time in the dark garage, which was discouraging her from laying, because chickens need about 10 to 12 hours of light in order to lay regularly. As soon as Judith laid an egg again, she started to take a turn for the worse.
Yeah, she's not doing good at all. Sorry, Enoch.
I had to make a choice. I couldn't help her, so I couldn't
I would say your goodbyes.
let her suffer anymore.
Okay. Go on. We're done here. Okay?
And of course I couldn't do it myself.
Have a nice day.
So thank you to my husband who helped.
Yep. Bye-bye. No Judith for you.
Because I couldn't have watched another moment of her suffering.
I can't fix reproductive issues, Judy. I can't have you suffering like that. That's terrible.
I wanted to ignore all the symptoms that Judith was having and diagnose her with something I could actually treat. The egg yolk peritonitis involves basically spaying your hen so that she stops laying eggs inside herself. That's well beyond my capabilities, and even if I could find a vet that could do it, would I even want to do that to her? I have 3 other red sex-linked hybrid chickens in my flock, one of which has been in the spa a lot in the last year. I have seen her exhibit many similar symptoms as Judith, and I also know she has a history of Sauer crop as well, so her symptoms could mimic that of the egg yolk peritonitis in some ways, but I could imagine that it's only a matter of time before we are in this situation again. I had better toughen up a bit because we only get the time we have with them, and we had better enjoy and appreciate them while they are with us. That's the downside to having and loving chickens. Their time with us is short, but they're worth it. I really hope this helped you in some way, and if it did, please give it a like and think about subscribing would be pretty awesome too. It was made in loving memory of the chickens that couldn't be saved. Miss Sophia, Miss Blanche, Miss Miriam, little baby Dot, and Miss Judith. If you like this video, I bet you like this one too. Click it, you know you wanna. Everybody's doing it.